Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing the Beatles discography with Magical Mystery Tour. I literally just got done listening to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band about like 15 minutes ago. The album grew on me, the same as the rest of the Beatles albums have grown on me on these re-listens here. And yeah, that album grew on me from a high 8 to a flat 9. And Magical Mystery Tour was an album I enjoyed even more than Sgt. Pepper's. I found this album to be even weirder. I found this album to be even more creative. I found this album to be even more of a batshit and memorable listen. So I'm going into this one sky high expectations. If this grows in the same way that the other Beatles albums have grown, we're looking at like a low to solid 9 on this thing. Like, I am going into this one so damn excited. This was my third favorite Beatles album on the run of initial listens. I'm just going into this hoping that it can maintain that level of excitement and quality. This album came out in 1967. It is 11 tracks, 36 minutes, split up into two halves. Of course, the first half, the Beatles in songs and music from a color television film called Magical Mystery Tour, and the second half being plus these other selections. Okay, so the second half doesn't really matter. The second half of the album, it's only there for the sake of for padding the runtime. So the album's immediately a 0. With that being said, let's get straight into this. Track 1, Magical Mystery Tour. Guys, it's the Minecraft movie song. Honestly feels similar to Sgt. Pepper's opener, but it's not the same. You know which you prefer? I get what you mean. Love the creepy undertone of this song. I feel like this song doesn't really have a creepy undertone. Not one that stands out to me, at least. This track feels legitimately just like colorful, vibrant, inviting as hell, which, you know, for an intro to an album like this, you want it to be inviting. I just love how explosive this is. The rest of the album does definitely have like a creepy undertone to it, though. I just feel like this opener, it's so disarming, you know? It's so colorful and explosive, kind of luring you into a false sense of security before getting into the weirdness that is the rest of the album, you know? Yeah, this track is just, it's ridiculous, it's batshit, great displays of John Lennon's vocals as well as Paul McCartney's on this track as well. I feel like the moments Paul McCartney gets to shine here are fucking fantastic. Yeah, it's a great opener. Very good opener. I would give this like a high 8 to like a flat 9. Fall on the Hill.
Day after day, sees the sun going down, and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round. Well, on the
What about the full archetype shit and like tarot and stuff?
Cloud, the man of 1,000 voices talking perfectly loud, but nobody ever hears him.
Not that specifically.
The sound he appears to make.
I see. The fool with nothing yet gained or known sets off on their journey facing a brave world. That makes sense. Yeah, The Fall on the Hill is a great follow-up to the first track, even if I think this song maybe could do with a little more fleshing out. Honestly, it feels like this track is a little sparse at points, and it feels like the song could have been a little bit more instrumentally intriguing. The writing here is fantastic. I love the vocal melody on this track. I think that the random flute switch up is one of like the most interesting moments on a Beatles song in general. Yeah, this one's like a solid 8 for me. Solid 8. Yeah, so I'm off to a solid start with these first two. Off to a solid start. Flying up next. Oh god, what is this mix? My left ear is really loving everything except that guitar, dude. I was meant to dress like them for this. I should have, that would have been Aura. I gotta be honest. These first three tracks, I'm not as in love with this album immediately as I was the first time around. It feels like on this listen I'm not quite getting that same magic I was getting the first time I listened to the album and the re-listen I did for the video. Feeling like a solid 6 on this. It's a decent instrumental. It has kind of like some cool creepy shit going on towards the end. Maybe because I'm not in the mood. Motherfucker, I'm in the best mood for this possible. I just absolutely adored Sgt. Pepper's. It's just this album is not hitting the same way it was before. I still thought the first two songs were great, just not as, I don't know. In terms of my memory of the album, I remember being a little more hooked than this. What is it? I don't know. I'm just not as gripped. I'm not finding the songs to be quite as immediately, like, charming. I'm not finding the songs to be quite as immediately like, oh shit, this is just like so likable. I'm immediately enveloped in everything. I'm just not getting that this time around. I'm not trying to compare it to Sgt. Pepper's. I know this is a very different album to Sgt. Pepper's. You know, with every single Beatles album, I've tried to look at them as singular pieces for the most part. Like, how they progress from the previous album, of course. I do try my best to, you know, enjoy them as what it is they are, because I know the band, especially now at this point, are just in their studio animal phase, so...
Now they've lost themselves instead. Please don't be lost. So many there to me. Please don't be long. Please don't you be very long. Please don't be long. All I It's my bed, I know. And I'd really like to go. Soon will be the break of day. Sitting here in Blue Jay Way. Please don't be long. Please don't you be very long. Please don't be long.
I mean, it's interesting. Sure, I'm certainly not like bored by this or anything like that. I'm just not finding this song to be particularly engaging, though. This doesn't have that same like gripping factor that I remember at all. I forgot to start recording again after my PC ran out of disk space.
Sing it again. Da 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 da. Though she was born a long, long time ago, your mother should know. 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 Your mother should know.
That's fine. Feeling low 6. Has its cute moments, has its fun moments. I like the harmonies throughout this track, I guess, and it gets off to a strong start. But the song doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't present any ideas that I feel like are worth even stretching to 2.5 minutes. Honestly, this track feels like a fraction of a Beatles song being stretched out to a full length entire cut. Damn. This was one of my favorites, man. I don't know why I'm not feeling it this time around. This was fucking a top 3 Beatles album for me. Why the fuck am I? Why am I not liking it anymore? Why is this like worse than some of the old stuff? This legit was one of my favorites. God damn it, man. Am the Walrus. Everyone knows this song. I'm not tired. Worst Oasis song. See, notice how an interesting idea sticks out like a sore thumb? You notice how, like, an actual creative piece of music immediately is like, holy shit, this sounds amazing.
Sitting on a cornflake, waiting for the van to come. They are the Eggmen. I am the Walrus. Mr. City Policeman sitting, pretty little policeman in a row. See how they fly like Lucy in the sky. See how they run. I'm crying.
Like, the vocal effect is fascinating. These random bits of imagery that John Lennon's creating with these lyrics, they don't make sense, but, you know, they're just so fascinating.
this night.
I Am the Walrus is a song that feels like Satan is actually singing it.
Semolina Belgium, climbing up the Eiffel Tower. Elementary penguins singing Hare Krishna. Man, you should have seen them kicking Edgar Allan Poe. I am the Eggman. They are the Eggmen. I am the Walrus.
Thank you, Oasis, for ruining this song. Exactly. Song makes you think of the movie Tusk. That's unfortunate. Yeah, feeling a low 9 on I Am the Walrus. Yeah, once an interesting idea is presented, it's like, oh yeah, there's the magic I remember from this album. There's the actual, like, stunning, breathtaking shit, the magic, the immediate gripping factor that I remembered from this album that is just not present on the first half at all. The first half of this album, besides the first two songs, is surprising in just how much the Beatles regress in terms of their creativity and their ability to create tracks that feel fully fleshed out or like they had enough ideas to even fit singular songs. And then I Am the Walrus comes in and it's like, oh, that's the magic I remember about this album. That is the immediate spark of creativity and color and just batshit weirdness that I remember from this album. I Am the Walrus is great. It's one of the Beatles' most iconic songs for a reason. It's got that very strange kind of gated vocal effect that feels like, I don't know, someone talking to you through your mind instead of actually speaking to you. It's the writing doesn't make any sense. Nothing in this track adds up. It feels like similar to A Day in the Life, I guess. It feels just like a bunch of vignettes of different scenes happening that are kind of meant to just create a feeling instead of have a general meaning. And the song does that so effectively. Yeah, I don't know. I fucking adore this track. It's I Am the Walrus by the Beatles, you know? What do you expect me to say? The song's good. I mean, so we have Hello Goodbye.
I say no, you say stop, and I say go, go, go. Oh no, you say goodbye, and I say hello, hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. I say hi. You say low. You say why. And I say I don't know.
Why is this 3 minutes?
Oh, no. You say goodbye. And I say hello.
This song does feel like it's dragging a little bit. I will say this feels like a better version of some of the tracks on the first side. This feels like, you know, this could be like a Beatles song that kind of fits in on any album. But there's something about just the energy being presented here. There's something about these lyrics. There's something about the placement of this song being like the first track of the B-side. Like it just kind of works, you know? It doesn't feel like it's the most unique track the Beatles have ever put out at all, but it works. It's charming as hell.
I say hello, hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello, hello,
I am feeling a high 7 on this song. Just below an 8. Song drags a little bit. Doesn't feel like it needs to be anywhere near as long as it is, but still, it's catchy. It feels like it's a Beatles song that maybe isn't the most creative or original. Feels like it could kind of fit in on any number of Beatles albums, to be perfectly honest with you. But the energy being presented on this track, the lyrics, the performances here and the production are all solid enough for me to say that it goes a step above some of my least favorite moments of the first half of the album. Absolutely. Yeah. Hello Goodbye is solid. It's a good track. Strawberry Fields Forever up next. The song.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you see. It's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out. It doesn't matter much to me. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. No one I think is in my tree. I mean, it must be high or low. That is, you can't, tune in, but it's alright. That is, I think it's not too bad. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real, and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever.
Imagine if this opened Sgt. Pepper's and went into Sgt. That would be kind of wild.
It's me, but I know when it's a dream. I think I know, yes, but it's all wrong. That is, I think I disagree. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to.
It's one of John Lennon's most authentic vocal performances. Oh, enthusiastic vocal performances, sorry.
Nothing is real, nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever.
The way it comes in there is, I don't know, this track is just fucking wild. I love how alarming the instrumental is the entire way throughout. The way it builds into this cluttered mess just kind of has a sense of aggression. Like the song is on the offense the entire time. Yeah, Strawberry Fields Forever is incredible. One of the most, like, legitimately unnerving songs ever. This track feels like hearing a dead person talking to you. Legitimately. There's something about this song that is just so... It gets under my skin. It's weird. It's unpleasant. The way this instrumental builds and then the way it reverses at the end there. It feels like a song found in hell. Everything on the surface is colorful. Strawberry fields, you know, that feeling of everything not being, you know, that feeling of surrealism. And then underneath it all is just something so sinister and twisted. I can't help but sit here and say that this track is one of the most mind-blowing pieces of this album. It's the most mind-blowing piece of this album. Easily. It's a 10 for me. It's fucking, like, Strawberry Fields Forever, you know? One of the band's most iconic songs. Like, easily. He's just talking about his childhood. I don't know, it's the way it's being presented that is like... Paul saw John writing a song about a place in Liverpool and said, hey, I'm going to do the same shit. Exactly. Because we're going into Penny Lane up next. But yeah, it's just the way that, I don't know, the ideas are presented on that song. It just, I don't know, it feels wrong. It feels like something is greatly amiss. There's just something that feels very, I don't know, on the offense about that song. Everything the Beatles did, it can be perfect because they didn't have enough experience doing that and not enough technology to do that. Otherwise, they would be 10 any time. I mean, they still do pretty well for themselves.
Penny Lane,
Penny Lane.
there's a barber showing photographs of every head he's had the pleasure to know. Lane, there is a fireman with an hourglass, and in his pocket is a portrait of the Queen. He likes to keep his fire engine clean. It's a clean machine.
Is this what it feels like to walk around an English city? An English city is more a feeling of being bored than this. Absolutely. I know, I've never been to Liverpool, so maybe this is the feeling of walking around Liverpool. Not all Chivo is depressing. Exactly.
In Penny Lane, the barber shaves another customer. We see the banker sitting waiting for a trim. And then the fireman rushes in from the pouring rain. Very strange. Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes.
Yeah, it's that nostalgia for a lost world.
Beneath the blue suburban skies, I sit and meanwhile back. Penny Lane is in my ears and in my eyes.
England looks beautiful. The countryside, sure. Still thinking about it. Towns are better here than cities? Yeah. Countryside towns specifically. Yeah, Penny Lane's great. Just a nice, kind of nostalgic, another surrealist type track that is just looking back on the way you perceived the world before and wishing that you could get back to that place of just that level of wonder and seeing everything as being mystical and magical. And I don't know. I think the song captures that feeling of longing, but also wonder at the same time beautifully. It balances those two tones pretty perfectly. And that's also helped by a great, very, very exaggerated performance. Magical? Yes. It's almost like that's what the album is named after. The kind of exaggerated, very, saturated vocal performance. I say mystical and magical. Wait, did I make a Benson Boone reference? Oh, shit. Whoopsies. Feeling a solid 9. Moonbeam ice cream, son of a bitch. I made a Benson Boone reference in the Big 26. Maybe You're a Rich Man up next. They recorded this one in a different studio.
And have you traveled very far? Far as the eye can see. How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people?
I can kind of hear it. This song doesn't sound the same as the rest. It doesn't feel like they're recording in the same type of environment. It doesn't feel like that the same microphones are being used. There is something about this that does feel like distinctly quite different to the rest of the tracks, yeah. It's also a different mix.
How often have you been there? Often enough to know.
There's something about like even just the recording though.
See when you were there.
Like the actual quality of the vocal performance feels different.
Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. You keep all your money in a big brown bag inside a zoo. What a thing to do. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people? Choose you naturally. Happy to be that way. Now that you found another key, what are you going to play? Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. Keep all your money in a big brown bag inside a zoo. What a thing to do. Baby, baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. Oh, baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man.
Yeah, the song's fun. I don't know. It's not the most impressive track on the album up to this point, but you know what? It's catchy. It gets the job done. It's got a solid chorus with some decent vocal layering and some okay writing as well. Yeah, I'm feeling a low 8 on this one. Yeah, very solid track. Even if it's not the most impressive on the album, even if it's not the one that I feel like is going to be the most memorable coming out of the album. Solid as hell. Good shit. Final track, All You Need Is Love. I of course remember this song. Sleepyhead? Nah, I'm just always yawning.
There's nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. isn't shown. There's no way you can be, there isn't where you're meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love.
Speaking of All You Need Is Love, I don't love this song as much as I remember loving it. I don't know. This song isn't as... I don't even know how to describe how I felt about this song before. It's kind of like I always saw this song as being like one of the Beatles, like semi-abstract sounding like masterpieces. Listening to it now, I don't know, it just reads as a little basic. It feels like this song could have a lot more going for it. But instrumentally, I'm not quite as gripped. I think the chorus is still great, but I don't know. I'm not really, again, similar to a lot of stuff with this album, I'm really not feeling it as much this time around at all.
All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. All you need is love. All together. All you need is love. Everybody. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. 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 Hey! All you need. Love is all you need. Yes, yes, yes. Whoa! Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah.
Legitimately really interesting outro, though. I'll give it that. I think that the final moments of this song are really, really strong. Like, just a fascinating little tag to throw on the end of the track and the end of the album that doesn't make too much sense, but definitely provided a very strong feeling. I don't know, kind of a little bit of dread. The repetition of Love Is All You Need over and over again. Something about the delivery of that line and the fact that it's being repeated again and again and again. Again, similar to like most of the best moments of the album, it kind of has a little bit of like that unnerving quality to it. A little bit of that, like, I don't know, just sense of uncomfortableness. I don't love this song as much as I did before. I don't see it as being quite as experimental or being quite as creepy or as like much of an abstract masterpiece as I remember it being. Anytime I think about this song, I just remember the chorus, and the chorus is great. The chorus is like genuinely like one of the strongest moments of the album, but the verses I just find to be super bland. It is an iconic song. I think the chorus is amazing, but I was not connecting to the verses on this track at all. I don't know what it was this time around. I just did not pull much out of this album, and this song is kind of an example of that. I'd give this like a high 6 to a low 7. That's kind of how I feel about a lot of this album, is that on my initial listens of it, I was so taken aback by just the magic of the Magical Mystery Tour. I was just so swept up in how much of a wild ride I saw this album as being, how creepy it got, how much musical variety there was, how many songs I found to be memorable initially. This time around, it felt like the album had its moments, but on the whole is a very inconsistent ride, with some of the Beatles' weakest tracks we've seen since their early albums. I found myself loving, and I mean legitimately loving, certain points of this thing. I think the first 2 tracks are absolutely fucking stunning. You obviously have songs like I Am the Walrus and Strawberry Fields Forever on here, Penny Lane. But then there's moments here like Your Mother Should Know and Blue Jay Way Flying, Even All You Need Is Love as well, where I feel like the band kind of start to retread ground in a way that feels like they are legitimately regressing a little bit. For a band whose progression has been so fascinating to like go back and look at in real time between all of their albums to see the way they evolve, it feels like this album is a little bit of a step back. It feels like this album is the first project where the Beatles don't really push themselves creatively, and they don't really reach any points where I'm like, oh my god, that is the defining thing about this album. I don't think there's any real defining moments of this album besides the opener and Strawberry Fields Forever. This album feels like a bunch of stuff that the Beatles have done before and better. And for that reason, it has shrunk on me. A decent bit it has shrunk on me. I did not enjoy this thing as much this time, anywhere near as much as I found myself loving it any of the previous times that I've listened to it. And that sucks, because this was one of the ones I was most excited to get to again, because it was my third favorite Beatles album. But after this, it is going to be going down in the list. It has its moments, it has its great songs. It's not a bad album by any means. It's still a good album. Like, it's still good. I enjoyed the vast majority of what I was presented here. It just didn't hit the same. It just didn't hit the same this time. I'm going to run the numbers and I will tell you what my overall score for this album is. I am feeling a 7.9 out of 10 on this album. Just below an 8. It's good. It's really good, but I don't think it's great anymore. I think that this album is too inconsistent. There's too many moments that I was not crazy on. There are too many tracks on here that just aren't that interesting. And the Beatles don't feel like they are pushing themselves creatively. It's not an LP. Well, for this format of this, and the way it's listed on Album of the Year and in the Beatles discography, this is the album version of Magical Mystery Tour. I understand that originally it was going to be an EP and then it was extended to be an album. I feel like it being extended to be an album by including the singles did it wonders, by the way. If this was just an EP and it was the first half, my score would be like a 6. My score would be like a 6. So yes, the addition of the singles is what brings this thing up. Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't love this time. I liked it. I still had a good time with this. I just didn't love it. And I didn't find myself having really too much to say about a lot of these songs. They just felt like the Beatles regressing and going back to old ideas that we've been presented before in a way that isn't as fun. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below and how it compares to other Beatles albums for you. Massive thanks to Chivo for editing this video. He has edited all of these Beatles re-reactions, and I greatly appreciate it. Somewhere around here there is a playlist with all of my original Beatles reactions, the original Beatles tier list, all of my new Beatles re-reactions, and if you're watching this in the future, there is a new ranking tier list video that will be out as well, so definitely go check those out if you haven't. Like and sub if you haven't as well. We are on our way to 4K, and I'll see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye-bye.